On the evening of March 24, 1999, a Loomis armored transport truck left Sacramento, California, carrying just over $2 million in cash. 3 men were inside the vehicle. None of them noticed anything unusual. The truck followed its familiar route westbound along Interstate 80, cutting through the dark stretch between Sacramento and San Francisco. Rain fell steadily. Traffic hummed around them. The engine droned at a constant pitch. It was an ordinary run. By the time the truck reached its destination later that night, the money was gone. No alarms were triggered. No doors were forced open. No one inside the truck realized a crime had taken place. What they would find instead was something far stranger. A jagged hole torn directly through the roof of the trailer. The FBI would later describe it as one of the most baffling thefts in modern American history. But the official records offer no name. Nobody knew who did it. But it wasn't a ghost. It was someone who knew the route, the timing, and the drop-off. We don't know his real name, so for the sake of telling this story, let's give that man one. Let's call him Michael Reyes. Not because we know who he was, but because someone like him had to exist. Michael Reyes worked for Loomis for 11 years. He wasn't a guard. He didn't carry a weapon. He didn't ride in the cab. Michael worked logistics. Schedules, routes, vehicle inspections, cargo manifests. The kind of job that rarely attracted attention, but quietly controlled everything. He knew which trailers were armored and which weren't. He knew how often routes changed and how often they didn't. He knew which security measures existed only on paper. Michael was dependable. That was how his supervisors described him. Not exceptional, not ambitious, just dependable. And for more than a decade, that was enough. In 1997, Loomis was hit by an internal theft, the type that made national headlines. Inside the company, everything changed. Cash had gone missing. Employees were suspected. Arrests were made. Trust collapsed overnight. Management responded the only way large corporations often do, quietly and broadly. Internal audits were conducted, backgrounds were rechecked, names were pulled into closed-door meetings. Michael received the call on a Tuesday afternoon. "Can you come up to the 3rd floor?" The voice on the phone was calm, too calm. The office was cold, not physically, but emotionally. 2 managers sat across from him. A folder rested on the table between them. His name was typed neatly on the tab. They didn't accuse him outright. They didn't need to. There were inconsistencies, they said, procedural concerns, associations. Michael listened carefully. He answered every question. He explained the discrepancies, pointed out errors in their assumptions, reminded them of his record. 11 years, no warnings, no incidents. When he finished speaking, one of the managers closed the folder. "We're going to have to let you go." No anger, no explanation, no appeal, just procedure. Michael sat there for several seconds, waiting for something else to happen. Nothing did. He walked out of the office slowly. He packed his desk in silence. A box, a coffee mug, a framed photo of his wife and son. No one met his eyes as he walked out. On the walk home, Michael was lost in thought. What's next? For 11 years, his life had been built around his job, and now it was gone. At home, he explained everything to his wife. They decided they would move past this phase together. But the weeks that followed blurred together. Michael searched for work immediately. Logistics, warehousing, shipping. But Loomis was a large name, and suspicion travels faster than truth. Calls went unanswered. Interviews ended abruptly. Offers never came. Savings drained slowly, then faster. His son, Evan, was 7 years old when the diagnosis came. A congenital heart defect, correctable, but only through surgery. Michael sat in the hospital office as numbers were spoken out loud, figures that felt unreal. Insurance would cover part of it, not all. The remaining cost was more than Michael had ever seen in his account. Bitterness settled in quietly. Not rage, not anger. Something colder. A feeling that the rules were never meant for people like him. Michael tried to move on. Short-term work, night shifts, temporary contracts. Nothing steady. Bills piled up. Collection notices followed. Sleep became difficult. One evening, his friend Daniel came by to catch up. They'd known each other long before Loomis. They sat at the kitchen table. Coffee went cold. Daniel spoke carefully.
Do you remember those routes? The Sacramento to San Francisco run? Same time, same road, same stop. They never changed it.
Daniel said, not since you left. Then, quietly, we can hit a van. Simple, quick, neat and tidy. Michael didn't answer. But that night, he didn't sleep. He thought about schedules, trailer specifications, inspection shortcuts. He thought about how the trailer roof wasn't armored, never had been. And he thought about the sound of rain. By morning, the idea had structure. They wouldn't stop the truck. Stopping it meant attention, confrontation, failure. They would ride it. For weeks, Michael prepared quietly. He memorized the timeline, calculated speed changes, identified blind spots. Daniel followed the route multiple times, always keeping his distance. They tested tools, practiced cutting aluminum quickly and quietly. Weather became part of the plan. Rain wasn't a problem, it was cover. On March 24, 1999, the Loomis truck left Sacramento just after sunset. Unbeknownst to the driver and the 2 guards inside, a black vehicle followed at a distance. After about 20 minutes, the truck came to a halt. A normal halt, but one Michael had planned for. A red light. Ordinary traffic. As the driver waited for green, Michael walked up unnoticed and climbed onto the roof. The length of the red light had been perfectly calculated. Rain masked everything. No one noticed a thing. Wind whipped against him as the truck accelerated back onto the freeway. Rain soaked his jacket. The trailer vibrated beneath his weight. He waited, listened. Then he began to cut. The aluminum roof gave way faster than expected. The sound disappeared beneath rain and traffic. Metal peeled back. Cold air rushed inside. Michael lowered himself into the trailer. Stacks of cash surrounded him. He worked quickly, methodically. He filled the duffel bags. Behind them, Daniel followed, far enough to avoid suspicion. When the bags were full, Michael tied them shut. One by one, he threw them through the opening. They vanished into the darkness. Daniel collected them as planned. As the truck slowed near the Cordelia way station, Michael prepared to leave. He waited, then jumped, rolled once on the wet ground, and ran. No one saw him. The truck arrived in San Francisco hours later. When the guards opened the trailer, water pooled across the floor. They noticed the hole. Someone laughed, probably a rock. Then they opened the vault, and everything changed. It was empty. Over $2 million was missing. The FBI investigated for years. No arrests, no suspects. Loomis quietly changed its security procedures. The case went cold. Michael Reyes was never named. The money was never recovered. And somewhere, a man who once worked behind the scenes vanished completely. The most unsettling part of this story isn't how bold the robbery was. It's how unnoticed it was. Because the truck never stopped, the guards never knew, and the thief was already gone. Sometimes the perfect crime doesn't break in. It rides along quietly until it disappears.